Hey everybody! This is Larry. This is the 2nd of April. Hope everyone made it through April Fools without too much trouble. I didn't do a thingy this year. Maybe I should have. I don't know. Let me know in the comments your favorite April Fool's joke, or come to Discord and share your favorite ones. Hit the like button and hit the subscribe button, and also join the Discord. We're hanging out with a lot of smart, if a little bit nerdy, CS people, and Leetcode and algo lovers, or maybe haters and trying to be better. But yeah, today's problem is the valid palindrome, and again, we're gonna be doing this all month because we've been doing this for 2 years straight. So why stop this month, right? So I hope you come and hang out and do it with us. Anyway, yeah, today's problem is valid palindrome 2. Given what that quick strain S return true if it can be palindrome after deleting at most one character from it. All right. So the way to do it, let's see, right? I think there are a couple of ways you can do it. I'm trying to. I think sometimes one thing that happens sometimes is that when you have a hammer, you tend to use it a lot. But I would say the first thing that I was thinking about is just doing it naively. Is it easy? Maybe I could do it naively. But of course, if you try to remove every character, that's going to be O of n characters to remove. And then if you do a check after that, that's going to be n square, right? And of course, if n is equal to 10 to the 5th, that's obviously too slow. So what am I thinking of next, right? The next idea that I have was, to be honest, dynamic programming. This is actually very easy to do in dynamic programming. But because there's only O of n or 2 times n number of states or something like that. But I don't know. I just feel like I think I'm just trying to think whether there's a easier. I mean, because I know that would work, maybe, or probably maybe there's some like timeout issues. But I'm just trying to think whether now whether there is a smarter way of doing it. Yeah. Dong dong dong. But I think one thing that I'm a little bit silly about is that. Am I though? Let me think about this. I think so. The idea that I have, because it is sometimes that when you have a hammer, you tend to use it, and DP is definitely one way to solve it. But it definitely is also probably overkill. Some of it is that you're giving that this hint. This is easy. If you were not given that, then it may be very easy to overkill it, if you will. Now I'm trying to think whether greedy is a possible solution in the sense that you're forced. And I guess there is, right? Because if you basically, I guess the next idea is that if you get one wrong, and because you can only get one wrong, or delete one most characters, or you delete one of them, so you either, if the left side is not equal to the right side for some string, then you either have to delete the left one or the right one, and cannot delete both. And in that case, then, it's almost like the dynamic programming solution, except for that you only have 2 possible things to check. And then in that case, I think that should be good enough. Let's kind of write it out then. And I'll maybe explain it a little bit better with code as the visualization as to what I mean. What I mean is that, yeah, okay. So basically, for example, let me just visualize it out a little bit. I don't have to write the full code, but because I think the examples here are not that great. I think that's why. But let's say you have some. That's a terrible one. Let's say something like this, right? So the 2 A's in the corner or on the side match. So then you do you loop in one. The B's on the side match, the C's on the side match. So then now basically you're doing almost, I mean, you don't have to implement this recursively, but the way that I think about it is kind of recursive, right? Like you could chop off the side if they're the same because it doesn't change the answer, right? And then now you have something that's different. And then the idea is either now, because you have to or you can only do at most once deletion. Well, you know that you cannot do 0 deletion because then that will just return false. So then now you have one choice, right? You can either delete the first character or the second character. And if you do that, then you have to, then the rest of them have to match. There's no way around it. It has to match. Or if you delete the first character, the same thing, right? Everything has to match 100% in a palindromic way, right? So that's basically the idea. And in the worst case is if you have, I don't know, PC and then a lot of palindromic stuff in the middle, right? In this case, then even in this worst case, removing the B and then check this takes O of n, checks this takes O of n, it only takes O of 2 times n, so which is O of n, right? So that means that is going to be fast enough, and that's the way that I would solve it. To be honest, I feel like nowadays I've been overkilling problems a bit. I'm trying to think whether if like I guess what I'm trying to think is, and sometimes I do this even if I solve the problem or if I solve it very quickly or whatever. One thing that I would say is that you can learn from your mistakes, and that's an easy master to learn from. When you make a mistake, you just learn not to do them again, and maybe you could do self-analysis and try to figure out why you took the path that you did, and try to figure out the properties that you missed, and see if you can do it in a way such that you don't make the same mistake twice. But even if you do solve it, sometimes for me it's interesting to see whether I am convinced that I would get it that way. Meaning that for me, now I'm not gonna lie, on these videos, I do take my time a little bit, both to think about how to explain it to y'all at home, but also to just like, I have, time is not as much of a pressure as doing a contest, right? And then the question becomes, okay, if I am doing this in a contest, what if I did a DP? Right? What if I did dynamic programming? And if I did dynamic programming, is there something that I can notice in a very quick way, such that I could be like, oh, actually, no, greedy is fast enough too, right? Because I don't want to spend like 10 minutes proving the quote-unquote greedy solution when I could have done DP and it's maybe fast enough and you could do it in a minute, right? There's some like trickiness around there, and I think there is some lessons there. And sometimes in those situations, it's worth kind of thinking about as well. So that's what I would say. Yeah. Anyway, let me finish doing this. So while left is equal to right, if s of left is not equal to s of right, so now this is the first and only possible place where it can differ. So then now we can, you can write it with for loops. You can do it with a short one statement, which is maybe I would write something like, something like, I always forget if this is plus, I think this is right. So basically, so this is the string, the substring that goes from left to right. So then now we want to take it without the first character. And if this is equal to the same thing, but I always forget how this works. So I write it this way, but I need to learn how to implement them together. Then return true. Or the other thing, right, which is left going to right plus 1 minus 1, obviously. I know that plus 1 and minus 1 cancels out, but of course I'm just leaving in there for, readers at home type situation. Yeah. And of course, maybe I could just cache this in a variable as well. So return true. Otherwise, return false. And of course, you can simplify this to one statement, but I'm just doing this for you. So yeah, Otherwise, they are equal, so then it's left increment by 1, right increment by 1. And of course, if it gets to left is equal to right, you don't even care anymore. Yeah, I think this should be good. And then otherwise, then we match it all the way through and we return true. Yeah, maybe. Let's run it by really quickly. I make a lot of silly mistakes, so we'll see. Why is that? Left is equal to 0, right is equal to -1. Oh, I increment by accident. Whoops. A lot of silly mistakes. Yikes. I would also say I'm honestly writing it a little bit different style than I normally do. Maybe I confuse myself a little bit. But because the way that I usually write it is I write it in a different order, but sometimes I feel like writing it the way that I write it on stream, it's better to understand. But if I'm under time pressure, or like if I'm just thinking with, or if I'm coding without thinking about how to explain it, I sometimes write things differently so that I don't make those mistakes. Like for example, and this is something that you can learn maybe as well at home, not from me, but just from yourself about how, like what kind of mistakes are you likely to make? How do I write it in a way such that I could get it out of my mind without thinking about it? Like for example, in this case, you saw that I wrote from here and I wrote these lines, but I think to be honest, if I was at home, well, not I am at home, but if I do it naturally, I would write this and I would definitely write this next so that I get this out of the way and then I work in the middle because these to make sure that it goes through the loop here. But I don't know. I don't always do it, so maybe I'm lying a little bit, but I do try to when I get a chance to. So let's give it a submit. Oh, I haven't solved this one before. That's interesting. And luckily I got it right the first time. They don't show you the streak anymore. Why is that? It's a little weird. Maybe it's a bug. I think it's a bug because this happened yesterday too, right? I think like if I refresh, it shows up. But there's some like weirdness here. See, 732. So yeah, like I don't know if you can see it on stream because I think maybe you don't see it on stream because my face is blocking it. But right here it said I have a 732-day streak. Like if you log in, you'll see your corner next to the notification thingy. Yeah, next to here. So anyway, but yeah, like I said, this is going to be linear time because this only happens linear. Like, well, this is O of n, and if this is ever true, which means that they're not equal, then this is also linear, but it only does at most 3 linear scans. So this is going to be linear time, and of course, in terms of space, this is roughly speaking O of 1. I think technically this creates a new string, so maybe this is O of n. But you can rewrite. You could. I mean, I'm a little bit lazy here, but you can write it in a way such that it's O of 1 by using another variable and then do another loop, right? If you don't think that's possible or whatever, try it at home. Prove to yourself. Practice it, because maybe your interviewer would be picky about it. For me, I'm a little bit lazy because I'm not interviewing, but you know, but it's also like I'm able to tell you that this is going to be linear, right? So yeah, and I can write in O of 1 space if I want to. So be careful there. That's pretty much all I have for this one. This is day 2 of April. So I will see y'all soon. Hopefully come back for the month. Come to Discord. I'll see you soon. Take care. Yeah. Stay good, stay healthy, to good mental health. I'll see you later and take care. Bye bye.